When I was in the 8th grade, my mom overdosed on heroin. And I went to school the next day like that was something totally normal for a 12-year-old girl to be dealing with. Little did I know, that would become a normal thing for me. My mom overdosed 13 more times after that first time. 13 times she had to be resuscitated due to her heart stopping, and 13 times she went right back to using. What is it that keeps an addict going back to their drug of choice, even after a significant amount of time away from it? Why is it so hard for them to stay clean? I want to apologize for my visuals. I'm currently in Ohio and we have a shelter-in-place order, so I'm doing the best with what I have. This is my representation of the entire US population, and this represents all of the people who have a drug or alcohol addiction. That's a lot. In 2011, the Harvard Medical School published an article titled "How Addiction Hijacks the Brain." This article tells us that addiction manifests itself in the brain in 3 distinct ways. The first way being cravings, the second way, loss of control over use, and the third way is ignoring the consequences. Addictive drugs activate the reward center in your brain, flooding the nucleus accumbens with dopamine. The hippocampus then stores this memory of pleasure, causing you to remember the sensation, therefore craving it again. Addictive drugs can release 2 to 10 times the amount of dopamine as natural rewards would, causing the brain to no longer produce enough dopamine naturally, again creating a reason for an addict to continually seek out their drug. Just move my notes. The 2018 article, Drugs in the Brain, published by the National Institute of Drug Abuse, goes further into depth on how dopamine reinforces the use of drugs. Because one of the brain's main goals is to repeat pleasurable activities, your brain is working against you when you're trying to get clean off drugs. Different cues can trigger an intense sense of craving for that pleasure that you receive from your drug of choice. That's why addicts who have been clean and sober for even a decade can relapse just by driving through an old neighborhood, causing them to remember what that pleasure was like, just a little bit. So what does that all mean? I grew up watching my mom fight all these battles with addiction. It obviously is going to have some kind of impact on me and my siblings. A study posted in 2019 by the International Journal of Molecular Science titled "Opioid Addiction, Genetic Susceptibility, and Medical Treatments" tells me there's a 52% chance that due to my genetics, I will become addicted to alcohol or other drugs. That same percentage goes for my 2 siblings as well. So in theory, at least one of us should end up with a substance abuse problem. That's terrifying. The study shows how addiction-related behaviors are associated with a specific gene. So while addiction to alcohol or a hard substance starts with a choice, there's a lot going on biologically that comes into play as well. Again, addiction is a disease, but it does start with a choice. There are genetic factors that influence the chance that somebody is going to become an addict. Once you give in to those influences, even just once, your brain continually craves the pleasure that was associated with that drug, embedding it into your memory. Even after being clean for years, the smallest reminder can send your brain into a craving frenzy, convincing you that you need that drug. Addiction is an extremely complicated thing to understand unless you've been in it or seen it up close. It's crazy to think that our bodies can be tricked into thinking we need something that's actually killing us. If you know someone battling addiction, offer them your support. A lot of times those individuals feel like the whole world is against them, even their own brain. Thank you.